Is by far one of South Africa's long-standing music groups with 9 albums and multiple music awards. The band is back with a new single titled Praying Mantis, a South African tour, and also a soon-to-be-released music video. Let's now welcome into this conversation the band's founding members Cito and Martin, who are in studio with us to tell us more about their music journey, tour, and of course the new music I just spoke about. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having us this morning.
Cito, let me start with you. A lot of the band members have been in it for a very long time. We know that bands and music groups get formed, but they break up quite easily. How have you managed to stick together for so long?
Well, I think the secret to Wonderboom is that we are brothers, we're friends first, and we just love performing together. So I think a lot of the bands that don't last are the ones that maybe experience a little bit of success and then it doesn't really go their way. And for us, we just love jamming together, succeeding or not, you know.
And I think that's a great thing that I find about the group, that you're also able to evolve quite easily. I don't know if it is easy for you. How have you managed to make sure that your sound remains relevant, you know, as things change, as music also evolves?
For us, I think it's just a thing of writing honestly. So without trying to fit into a certain mold or a fashion or specific dictated genre, we've kind of always done what we've wanted to do, and that's kept us relevant, really, is being honest and true to ourselves.
Speaking about doing what you've always wanted to do, you know, you're considered a rock band, but you've dabbled in other genres, and I think because the South African music industry is so interesting, you can work with other artists from different genres. How have you been able to sort of blend different sounds within your music?
I think you know, as Martin mentioned, because we're so honest in the way that we write, we live in the moment. So you know, we've dabbled in kwaito, we've dabbled in punk, in funk, hip hop,
bits of hip hop, yeah.
even dance. But the main vein is rock, and I think that as long as the sources are the same, being my voice and Martin and Wade's guitars and the drums, there's always going to be that Wonderboom sort of thread.
Martin, 22 years in, what are some of the highlights, but also let's go through some of the challenges you've faced as a band?
Well, I think if we start with the challenges, one of the big challenges that has faced us really, I suppose, over the last 10, 15 years has been the mega evolving music industry that's changed so much around our feet. We've watched it happen, you know, which is great. It keeps us fresh. It keeps us evolving. Highlights for me, the fact that we're still making music that we're true to, and people still come watch us. It's always a highlight for me, seeing people's faces light up when we hit the stage. You know, it's I don't think that'll ever get old.
I think winning gold in China last year. At the end of 2017, we competed against 14 other countries, and we won gold. That was quite a highlight, or a recent highlight. But yeah, as Martin said, as long as we're still doing what we're doing, it's always going to be a highlight for us.
And I think that's always amazing to see other people, especially all over the world, celebrating you and celebrating your music as well. Let's talk about your new music.
Yes.
I know it's been said to be a little bit more different than your previous projects, understandably so, because we're in 2018 now. Talk to us about that.
Well, it's our first album in 7 years, and we had lots of fun putting it together. We spent lots of time putting it together. It's called Rising Sun. And I think it really represents where we are as a band in a new sort of chapter. We've got some really cool rocking numbers, but then we've got some cool dance numbers. It takes you on a whole journey from beginning to end. It's almost like watching a movie, the Wonderboom movie. And our new single, Praying Mantis, we're very proud of it. We're going to release the video on Monday. It's going to be launched on Monday, and we had lots of fun putting that video together as well. We got pretty creative, broke away from our instruments, and just had some fun in a sort of fantasy world.
All right, just finally, I know you're going to be performing a little bit later on, which we're excited about. In terms of where you'll be performing, I did mention earlier on that you have a tour coming up. Just take us through that briefly. Okay,
we're doing it's pretty much a theatre tour, really. Most of the venues are theatres, different kinds of more intimate venues. The show is called Best Side Stories, which is us doing an unplugged show or an unplugged take on what we do, and some storytelling in between on where the songs came from. Some true, some not, some exaggerated, some not. But mostly it's us kind of letting you into our little world, and we'll be doing theatres all around the country.
Thank you so
Quite
much
a
for
few
joining us.
barnyards,
I'm
yeah.
sure the Wonderboom fans, are excited to see you get back to it. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank
Next
you.
big gig is on Saturday the 4th at Saturday Social, which is at Emperor's Palace with the Narrow and
SDO.
and Utah Knife Gang.
Alrighty, there you have it. That was Cito and Martin from the band Wonderboom, and they were speaking to us about more than 2 decades of being in the South African music industry, but also their new single, Praying Mantis, as well as their South African tour, the theatre tour as they refer to it. Now we're going to cross over to Simpiwe.